It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sharin Jafar ma'am for today's third session. Let me introduce ma'am first. Uh, Dr. Sharin Jafar is Assistant Professor Computer Science Engineering in School of Engineering Science and Technology, Jamia Hamdard, with a decade of successful experience in teaching and research management. She specializes in wireless networks, soft computing, and network security, and has great profile in Scopus, Melody, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and Publon. With about half century of paper published in Scopus, SCI, and peer review journals, double century of the papers in review, and also editorial board and editor in chief of many reputed and Scopus index journals. She has published patents and also in co-PI of first project DST. A strong believer in the power of positive thinking in the workspace, Dr. Sherin regularly developed internship and career campaigns for students through Inthezlaka and Epoch, Library and Cultural Society group, and guided huge number of graduate, postgraduate, and PhD students. Dr. Sherin has been session chair for 5 international conferences, keynote speaker, resource person of 20 webinars, and FDP for renowned institutions. AICT, STTP, and AICT Atal FDP. Dr. Sherin enjoys a good Netflix and cricket brings, but can also be found a long drive riders of country roads. So it is very wonderful profile, and we are very lucky to listen, ma'am. So, ma'am, kindly continue with your presentation and enlighten us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Do it now or sometimes later will become never. So starting with cybersecurity as the buzzword nowadays. And sir, I'm properly audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay.
You're audible.
So let's start with a small video that will specify to us that how cybersecurity is proving to be very, very important in the current scenario.
Disrupt commerce and leave a trail of widespread damage. Raytheon's integrated end-to-end cybersecurity solutions safeguard mission-critical systems.
So when we talk about some external threats, internal threats, they are all a concept of cyber threats.
Fraud, sabotage, and theft. To withstand advanced cyber threats, it is essential to have an effective Cybersecurity Operations Center, or CSOC, that couples system architecture with persistent monitoring. Raytheon's cybersecurity operations model erects 4 pillars: establishing situational awareness, command and control, advanced analytics, and actionable threat intelligence. Within the complex global cyber landscape, it is critical for a CSOC to persistently monitor their information environment. For example, a group intent on civil unrest might unleash an attack aiming to create government dissatisfaction and public confusion. The Cybersecurity Operations Center is alerted, while automated analysis determines that this is a new type of threat, not previously seen, and it is malicious. Mitigation is rapidly selected and deployed, limiting its effects. Advanced analytics are engaged to determine the full attack chain and expose the full capability of the cyber threat. Integrating enriching data from the open internet, government, and proprietary sources, the system is able to turn seemingly unrelated data points into actionable intelligence. For more than 30 years, Raytheon has been entrusted to design, build, and maintain resilient systems to minimize adverse impacts from cyber attacks. Raytheon ensures customers can operate confidently in cyberspace. How secure is your digital space?
So the question arises, how secure is your digital space? Normally, during my sessions, I have a rapid fire session with all the participants. This I'll do at the last. Let's go to the important topic, which deals with the concept of the scenario is from security monitoring to cyber risk monitoring, enable business aligned cybersecurity. So that means that no IT system can catch ever phishing email and data breach. But what happens when a virus infects your network? Executives from the various C-suites down needs to better understand today's cyber risk, emphasizing careful monitoring and quick response plan and a prevention scenario, because cyber attacks will occur and you need to have a scenario in which we need to control those cyber attacks. Now, the thing is that normally these cyber attacks occur, and why we didn't detect it. That's two common questions when a major cyber attack occur. And the thing is that we lack in identification, we lack in evaluation of that attack, we lack in tracking and reporting, also control and treatment and analysis. Cisco estimates that internet traffic will grow at a compound annual rate of 23% in 2014 to around to 2019. So this internet traffic is being growing at a very fast rate. So the important thing is that there's a shortage of the talents, of the right skills to find out why we are not able to detect these kind of attacks. So the scenario is the data is being spread all across the systems, and as the environments are growing complex, they create exponential gaps between the weaknesses for the criminals to exploit and allow more and more detection. And the thing is that detecting what's important has become among the biggest of the big data problems. And the thing is that there is a lack of skill, there is a lack of solutions in various type of business management, and even various type of simple your industries, simple government organizations, a simple website where these cyber attacks are not treated very keenly. The thing is that an IT security monitoring needs to become cyber risk monitoring. Beyond simply watching for malicious activities, company need a function that can proactively identify those activities. You cannot just say that there's a watchdog or there's a watch person who is simply watching those activities, but there should be a identification of the business, and support and mitigation decisions should be taken so that problems can be identified, and alone watching should not be done. The thing is that there should be a new approach which should have the two basic elements. Number one is ironically have the business context, in which it's very, very important that data collection should be done, and it's linked together to put the stream of the IT into context. Along with that, there should be a risk guidance. This requirement requires engagement across the business's functions and technical terms, so monitoring can be shaped. So when it is a business scenario, the risk guidance should also be present. Now, the cybersecurity operations, that is the Cyber Operations Center, SOC, is a centralized function within an organization, employing people, processes, and technology to continuously monitor and improve the organization's security posture while preventing, detecting, analyzing, and response to various type of cybersecurity incidents. So SOC is now utilized by various type of organizations, which is not only analyzing, but it is also preventing, detecting, and responding to various type of cybersecurity incidents. So when we talk about these incidents, there are 10 steps during the cybersecurity, and that we need to look into the specification. Number one, you should have the companies, the organizations should have a very good risk management regime in which they should understand the risk, and a risk management regime should help keep the board involved, because that's very important, because they will take decisions. For example, you might request changes for addition to your cybersecurity policy or staff awareness program. So this risk management regime should have all the the C-suite guys and your board involved into that. So the risk management regime should assess the risk of the organizations, and in terms of legal, in terms of regulatory and financial and other operational risks. Then you should have a secure configuration. One of the most common causes of data breaches is the misconfigured controls, such as a database that is not properly secured or a software that has not properly been installed. So highlighting the importance of the configuration can ensure that you remove or disable the unnecessary functionality from the system and address the known vulnerabilities very promptly. That's a very important, because when you are installing or when you are specifying those database controls, a secure configuration should be set up. Then very important, nowadays we have home and mobile working. So many organizations offer employees the chance to work from home, but this comes with a security risk. So remote workers don't get the same physical network security that is provided in the office. So organizations should respond accordingly. They should limit the access to sensitive systems and creating policies for protecting laptops. This is now being done. Many IT companies are now, and many other companies are providing specific laptops that are totally being designed according to the organization's specifications, and only the things that are being allowed are being seen and accessed in that particular laptop. Then the fourth and other important solution is an incident management. No matter how robust your defense measures are, you will experience a security incident at the time. So preparation of those policies and procedures to mitigate any type of damage, it should be done very quickly. Then we have another specification of malware protection. There are many ways that malware can enter your organization premises. So it can be entered through an email attachment, or it can come through any type of device that is plugged into the system. To mitigate these risks, organizations should implement anti-malware software and policies designed to help prevent employees from falling the victim of those particular malware issues. Then your user privileges. Organizations, very important for various organizations to create access controls to ensure that the employees can access information that is relevant to their job only. You cannot have all privileges to every user, and that's very important, because it prevents sensitive information to be exposed, and there can be likely that an employee will steal that information or may pass on to the information to others. So this user privilege management is also a very big task of the database administrator. Then continuous monitoring, that is system monitoring, enables you to detect successful and attempted attacks. And in this scenario, when continuous monitoring is done, firstly, it will help to identify incidents promptly and initiate response effects. Secondly, you will gain the first-hand evidence of the ways the criminals or the hackers are targeting you, and look for vulnerabilities before crooks identify them. So you should able to find the vulnerabilities of your system on your own before any hacker or before any mitigator can access that. Then the other thing is network security. The connections from your networks to the internet contain vulnerabilities that could be exposed. You won't be able to eradicate all of these vulnerabilities, but you should be aware of them and remove as many of risk with the architectural changes. And you should have some policies and technical measures so that these network security can be a protection guard from any kind of hacking, from any kind of password cracking, from various types of cyber attacks, spyware, your malicious software, and so on. Then another important scenario that affects the various organizations' security is the removal media controls. Nowadays, when we talk about various USBs and other removable devices, and when are being inserted, cause many security issues. So not only they often used to inject malware, but they're also involved in many incidents also. So organizations must therefore create policies emphasizing the need to keep removable devices on your person, or they shouldn't be allowed, because nowadays many of the organizations, they don't allow a pen drive or even a USB or any external device to be connected to the office premises, to the office systems, and this helps in gaining more media controls. Then very important is the user education and awareness. When employees play an essential role in the organization security practices, so they must be taught with various types of responsibilities to prevent various type of data breaches through various types of posters, through various types of newsletters and screensavers, and training can be done through various types of e-learning classrooms. Some kinds of workshops should be done so that the employees and the connected people should know that how the security attacks can take place. Actually, when we talk about cyber crime, so what is cyber crime? Cyber crime is any crime with the help of computer and telecommunication technology, or any crime where either the computer is used or it becomes a subject or an object. So cyber crimes can mainly be against the persons, they can be against the property, and they can be against the government. So these type of crimes are usually occur in the cyberspace. And when we talk about a cyber crime against a person, so that can be simple, your cyber stalking, it can be a loss of privacy, it can be harassment with the use of computer, some obscene material of that person to be transmitted. They are normally nowadays very much occurring due to the social media scenario. Then they can be against property. Property is like kind of a computer vandalism, that stealing secret information and data, copyright issues, and theft of material on the computer. So this type of cyber crimes also occur against various types of properties. Then we have the government. Nowadays, these type of attacks are also very common, where times of government websites are being challenged, extortions and terrorism and computer viruses are being sent in order to prevent the successful working of any government. Then other type of crimes, which may include your logic bombs, which may include the spamming, which may include any types of malware and email bombing and email abuse. And nowadays we have so spam mails that are being, click on this and you will get that. So these are all type of spam mails that are occurring in the current scenario, and due to the huge usage of internet in the current and upcoming years. So let's see that how cybersecurity is playing a very, very important role.
We have a society today where nearly everything of value is powered by software. Your information, your photographs, your life, your medical information, your money, your identity. In a physical world, we take precautions to stay protected and stay safe. And we have to have the same thinking in the online and the digital world.
You can get a tremendous amount of protection for yourself in this day and age by using secure, up-to-date devices, by having a password manager, and then just practicing common sense while you're online. Treat people that you're engaged with online in emails that you're responding to the same way that you would someone walking up to you on the street and asking for any of your information.
Cybersecurity is one of the biggest challenges of our society today, and we all just need to be vigilant and think every time about your passwords, where you keep them. Make sure they are advanced and complicated enough. Not open just any email, not click on any link, but have that little suspicion in you at all times, and thinking, who is asking for this and why?
The internet really is a global community, but the policies for safe vulnerability disclosure are not applied uniformly at a global level.
Come from an old world where not everything was running on software. Now everything is running on software. We must make it really, really secure.
So we have seen in this video that how important is securing simple, like people share their passwords and they're not vigilant and opening any kind of email and opening any type of spam messages, and they say that we'll get a mobile recharge or we will getting this amount of money credited. So these things should be avoided by remaining vigilant. Now there's a very important term called cyber law. In today's techno-savvy environment, the world is becoming more and more digitally sophisticated. So all legal issues related to internet crime are dealt through cyber laws. As the number of internet users is on the rise, the need for cyber laws is becoming a very, very important scenario. The thing is that all transactions now are occurring normally in a DMAT form. All companies are dependent on laptops and computer networks, and valuable information is shared in electronic form. Government, even your income tax, your laws, and all are being done, even when you are getting your registries and all done in electronic format. And consumers are nowadays using your debit and credit cards in a much more fashion than it was done 10 years before. Then when we are talking, the emails, the phones and SMSs are at a very, very high rate. And the thing is that nowadays when we talk about any types of crimes, murder, divorce or kidnappings, they all are occurring with lot of technical knowledge and technical support. So when we talk about your digital signatures and e-contracts, nowadays they are all happening in various types of businesses. So the digitized world requires a lot of cyber laws and cyber security inside it. So when we talk about the cyber law in India, in India, the cyber laws was contained in an Information Technology Act 2000, which came into force in around 17th October 2000. The main purpose of this act was to provide a legal recognition to electronic commerce and to facilitate filing of electronic records with the government. The existing laws of India, even with the most compassionate and liberal interpretation, could not be interpreted in the light of emergency cyberspace to include all aspects related to different activities in the cyberspace. So the cyber law of India is still not foolproof, we can say, and still not very effective to catch various types of criminals. In fact, when we talk about the practical experience and the wisdom judgment found that it should not be without major threats and pitfalls. If the existing laws were to be interpreted in the scenario of emerging cyberspace, the need for enactment of cyber laws requires. The thing is that when in the IT Act of 2000, the offenses are specified when you are sending, threatening of the defamatory messages or forgeries of electronic records, webjacking, online sale of drugs. And there is no law in the country which gives legal validity and sanctions to emails. So that's very important scenario in the cyber law that is being specified. And the lack of this foolproof cyber laws still doesn't exist for India, although the work is in progress, and soon we will get a foolproof cyber law which will take actions against the various offenses that are occurring. But when we're talking about other, when we are talking about the world, the Great Firewall of China monitors every moment in the cyberspace and to protect any type of offense. And China have a hold on every content which is of dangerous for the government of China. Even when we say about the WhatsApp and the Facebook, they don't work in China. China is using its own apps. So Brazil is considered world's biggest airport for hackers. Iran is also a dangerous country for the netizens. He also have a crime police unit for crime in cyberspace. So many countries have their issues, but many countries are keeping a strict monitoring on the various types of cyber attacks that are taking place. So when we talk about the various importance of these cyber laws, as I told you, nowadays everything is in electronic form. And when we are talking about your income tax return, your credit cards usage, and your computers being used, since all these is being digitized at a very great rate, the various types of transaction and activities concerning the internet, the World Wide Web and cyberspace, therefore cyber law, and that too a very effective cyber law, is very, very important. Does not, like we can say that it is just work being done. No, it should be effective and it should thread the people who are making any issues regarding the cyber security. So very important is that through a crime-free society is perfect and exists still, it is like an illusion. It should be constant attempt of rules to keep the criminalities at the lowest, and it's difficult to judge those criminalities, especially if they are occurring in a cyber space. In a society that is dependent more and more on technology nowadays, crime based on electronic law breaking are bound to increase, and the lawmakers have to go the extra mile compared to keep the at bay, because keeping at bay with the people who are hackers and who are crackers and who are working just not only for financial gains but also to prove that world that they can crack anything plays a very, very important role. So when we are talking about your technology, the technology is utilizing steganography and even the crimes, but failing into the wrong hands with an illicit intent who are out to exploit them or misuse them. Hence, it's very important from the rulers and the lawmakers to ensure that the technology grows in a healthy manner and it is used for legal and ethical business growth and not for committing crimes. This need to be understood, and it should be the duty of the rulers, the regulators, the lawmakers, the agents, the internet network suppliers, the banks, and also us as users to take care of the information security and should to be very much vigilant, because we are not the lawmakers. We cannot take an action, but we can be vigilant, and we can be very much specific in the data that we are accessing through any kind of device that we are using. For that, there are some open source cybersecurity tools. So as researchers, we should have the information of those open source cybersecurity tools, and we can use these tools in order to work very efficiently. So these are the advantages, that they are open source available, so you don't have to buy them, and you don't have to get the licensing for them. You can access them and you can use them for doing right type of researches in your cybersecurity space. So when we talk about Kali Linux, it is an open source Linux distribution system, and it is a cyber security utilities and penetration of the testing tools are present here. And it's one of the hacking focused Linux distributions that come pre-packaged with various types of testing utilities. And the important thing is that it is a Windows subsystem for Linux, which allows users to run the Linux executable files directly from the Windows. And it is embedded with various devices like your Raspberry Pi, because nowadays IoT integration is very important for any type of cybersecurity environment. Even your HP and Samsung Chromebooks and the Android operating system have the Kali Linux utility installed into them, so that any type of testing and penetration testing can be done during the manufacturing phase of the particular system. Then other softwares are Metasploit. This is a lot to be utilized by various type of researchers. It is a framework where your vulnerability exploitation and validation tool that can be used for various types of exploitation of various vulnerabilities that occur. And it is an open source security tools that helps us to manage and workflow in terms of accessing the vulnerabilities, and it can be utilized by the encoders, by the listeners, and it is a tool for auditing. Nowadays, lot of auditing companies and lot of, like even your PwC and your other Deloitte have a network port scanning, which scans approximately 250 ports that are usually exposed to external devices. And auto exploitation feature works by cross-referencing, open servicing, vulnerability references, and fingerprints to find the exploitations. So these type of scenario is utilized by various types of auditing firms, and the Metasploit framework is a very, very important framework that can be utilized for any type of cyber vulnerability exploitation. Then Nikto is again an open source tool. It is a free open source tool. It is a kind of a web scanner which scans web servers and multiple vulnerabilities. It covers around 7,000 around potentially harmful files, programs, and makes checks for updated versions. So it is kind of a web scanner which finds version specific problems on around 270 servers, and users can perform checks for in terms of their index files, their HTTP servers. And it is an open source security tools which identifies the installed web servers and even the softwares, and it checks for again the security issues that can occur in those types of servers as well as the softwares. Then Nmap is nowadays a lot of utilized. It is called as a network mapper, and it is again used for penetration testing and security auditing. So a lot of again your auditing companies and security companies utilize Nmap, and it has again the ports before a security audit starts, and they use the scripts to detect any type of security issues. And the network administrators can use Nmap also performing tasks like your network inventory, your service upgrade schedule, tools, and even your monitoring uptime. And the advantage is that it runs on Linux, Windows, and Mac operating system, and it is designed specifically for scanning large networks, but it can be utilized for single host also. So many types of researchers have started working on Nmap because it is an efficient tool for penetration testing. Then OpenVAS. OpenVAS is again your open source full-fledged vulnerability scanner, and it is again can be performed with authenticated testing, and it can be utilized for various high-level and low-level industrial protocols. And the advantage is that it allows large-scale scans, so any type of vulnerability testing, even your various types of scans and various types of programming language and software scannings in terms of your client services and data, can be done by the OpenVAS vulnerability scanner. Then OSEC is nowadays lot of utilized, which is an open source, scalable, and multi-platform host-based intrusion detection system. And the important thing is that it helps for monitoring of the various types of firewalls, IDs, web servers, and authentication logs. And it can withstand various types of cyber attacks and systems. And it changes in the real-time utilization policies of the firewall, integration with third parties when that occurs, and it is again very much utilized by various types of auditing companies when they are doing your compliances, and it is very much utilized during the intrusion detection systems softwares. Then the Security Onion. Security Onion is also very much utilized, and it again a Linux-based distribution software which is utilized for enterprise security monitoring and log management. And the important thing of all these tools are that since they are open source available, so we can go and have a test on them, we can run on our systems, and we can specify the various types of threats they specify and how they monitor the system. And the thing is that they are incorporating other tools like the network miner and other type of tools that can be utilized with them. So many type of researchers are using Security Onion as one of the vulnerability detection tool. Then VeraCrypt. VeraCrypt is also a security tool for disk encryption, and it again can be utilized for Windows, your Mac, and Linux operating system. And the advantage is that this tool encrypts an entire partition or storage device, such as your USB flash drive or hard drive, before dumping it in the cloud or elsewhere. So user can also perform a pre-boot authentication by encryption a partition drive where the Windows operating system is installed. And the advantage of the VeraCrypt is that it encrypts in real time and supports hidden drives and hidden operating systems on the machines. So if there are any hidden drives or hidden operating systems in the machine, VeraCrypt will easily able to recognize and give you the whole analysis very easily. Wireshark. Wireshark is again very much utilized, a free and open source tool for network protocol analysis, and it is again a cybersecurity tool that helps to observe the network at a microscopic level in specifying the traffic of your vulnerabilities. And it can again be used in various platforms like your Windows, your Linux, with Solaris also. And the importance is that Wireshark supports live capture of the offline analysis of the data and decryption for multiple protocols, like including your IPsec, the WPA, Kerberos, and all the SSL, TLS, and WEP, all are being utilized by Wireshark. So Wireshark nowadays is being utilized by various type of researchers and various types of organizations for a complete scanning and for a complete network analysis of their systems. Very important terminology that is now being utilized in this cybersecurity is artificial intelligence. So when we start using this term, the artificial intelligence came into the picture when we had that human have started mimicking the human behavior has been started being mimicking in the computers. Then came your the concept of your machine learning, which is again a subset of artificial intelligence. intelligence. Nowadays, we are using the concept of deep learning, and we have the data science. So data science journey is coming from the concept of all these artificial intelligence, your concept of network analysis, your machine learning, your deep learning. So nowadays they are also playing a very, very important role, because if you have closely seen the video that was happening in the first one, it told that analysis of the traffic and analysis of the threat should be done, and if it is being done at a very good level by using some machine learning algorithms, then those threats and those vulnerabilities can be avoided very easily by various types of organizations. So AI adopters inspiring to make a shift. So this is already being started, that AI has already been adopted to strengthen the security infrastructure of organizations. I will tell you a number of real life examples where AI powered solutions are significantly improving the cybersecurity scenario. So when we talk about your Gmail, so the Gmail uses the machine learning to block 100 million spams a day. You can see the scenario that you are also getting a lot of spams and so on in your systems, but Gmail is using only the machine learning algorithm to block your 100 million spams a day. It has developed a system to filter out emails and offer a spam-free environment efficiently. So this is a very, very important work that is being done by Gmail, because you can see every day how many spam messages are being thrown at every email ID, and this is a work being done by Gmail of taking the unnecessary messages into the spam. Very rarely you have some important messages that are going into the spam, but normally you have the unnecessary messages are only going to the spam, and the AI mechanism, the machine learning mechanism that is being utilized in the Gmail is working at a very efficient rate. Also, when we are talking about IBM Watson, the cognitive training uses machine learning to detect cyber threats and other cyber security solutions. So this IBM Watson scenario is also being started, and it is termed to be called as a training machine. And this training machines is able to learn through various types of environments, through various types of models, and it is able to detect the cyber threats, and various types of cyber security solutions are also provided by IBM Watson. Then Google itself is using the deep learning AI on its cloud video intelligence platform. So you can see this diagram in which you have the video image submission, which is being scanned through cloud storage, through the cloud function. Then there's a big query. This is all the query which is specified by your AI-based algorithms, and then it is being sent to the intelligence APIs, to the video intelligence API and vision APIs. So on this platform, the videos are stored on the server, are analyzed based on their context and the content both. So their content and context both are playing an important role. The AI algorithm sends security alerts whenever some suspicious activity is being found. So this is very important, a real life scenario of how artificial intelligence and machine learning have already been adopted by various type of organizations like your Google, like your IBM Watson, and they have already utilized the effective algorithms of these AI-based solutions and the machine learning-based solutions to find various types of suspicious behavior. Even your Balbix platform. So Balbix platform uses AI-powered risk predictions to protect the IT infrastructure against your data and security breaches. So what it's doing, it is analyzing. Analyzing means it is developing the risk insights and predicting the breach scenarios. It is acting. It is prioritizing the actions to transform the various types of cybersecurity postures. Also, it is monitoring by continuously monitoring across hundreds plus vectors, and it is identifying means discovering an inventory in the real time. So this is being done all with the help of their AI based solutions that is being provided in the Balbix platform. So all these organizations are utilizing nowadays. So when we talk about, no, I'm working on cybersecurity, I don't have any knowledge of AI. So this is a false statement nowadays, because all the technologies are somewhere or somehow connected to each other. When you have IoT, you need to have some cybersecurity in it. When you have your cybersecurity, you need to have some AI into it to get the powerful analysis being done. So these are the references that I'll share with you all, because these references will be playing a very, very important role of people who want to do a study and research on various type of cybersecurity issues. And these references can be utilized for searching when you are being searching from some open source software solutions for cybersecurity. And also, nowadays many of the MTech students are going for auditing courses, and companies like your PwCs and Deloitte and Aon all are hiring those cybersecurity experts along with the auditing training that they have. So this is also playing a very, very important role in cybersecurity scenario. And from Hamdard, I can say that we all are living in this world of pandemic, but we need to be very, very careful that in this pandemic scenario, we need to learn something new, and taking specification of all those FDPs, the webinars we are attending, we should try to adapt and try to learn something new in order to overcome this particular scenario. So these are my email IDs that I can share you. So I'm also a learner. So you all participants are learners. So we can collaborate, or we can have some discussions on various types of issues. I will be very happy. And I will be now keen to answer any questions if any participants have regarding the cybersecurity issues. So anybody, if you want anything to be Amit sir, as you told, the research areas are open very, very widely. If I talk about the current scenario in which we have the COVID-19 data, many of my friends are also working on that data, because nowadays that data is coming from number of sources which may not be the real one. So we need to recognize and we need to track out those sources by using various types of vulnerability softwares, whether that data is coming from the correct source or not. This could be one of the research areas of analysis. Then other research area, as I told you, nowadays it's a very, very important scenario that people are working with collaboration in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cybersecurity. Again, another research area that plays a very important role is IoT. Nowadays, when we are talking about IoT framework requires lot of cybersecurity analysis. So you can collaborate on that area also for producing better solutions. So when we talk about your medical data analysis, when we are talking about your data that is in your systems, or when we are talking about visualizations, all are research areas that require cyber analysis being done into them. MNC companies, sir, they normally use the licensed version, because many of the open source tools are available for the users, but the specific features, the more critical analysis is being provided them only when you get the licensed version. So when we are talking about your C-suite companies, or when we're talking about your any kind of companies like your PwCs or Aons, and they normally use a much better licensed version of that. They can use that open source version, but for their monitoring and for their control, they use those features which come in the licensed version. So maybe for user point of view, or for a person who is accessing from the Google point of view, the open source can be fine. But MNCs, because for them the risk of data is very much enlarged, they are normally utilizing solutions solutions that are totally in terms of them. If they're taking any type of cybersecurity solutions, any type of auditing solution, they have a very strict version of that is utilized only by them, and the features are only explored by them. So maybe they can use an open source tool, but that open source tool versions of features or adaptability is in full control of that MNC. I'll Amit sir, for learning purpose, for learning point of view, when we are using them in penetration testing or vulnerability analysis, for when as I told you that these are currently being updated when we are talking about your Wiresharks, and when we are talking about your other tools, even the Onion, they are maybe they can be vulnerable, but the thing is that nowadays companies are doing what? All those who are developing these tools, they are continuously monitoring, they are continuously updating those softwares or updating those open source tools. So the best thing is that when you have any type of usage of an open source tool for your current problem analysis, it's very, very important that you analyze that open source tool, because as I told you that doing a new technique or new study is difficult. So what we can do when we're using an open source tool, we can analyze that open source tool in terms of the respective resources that it has. So obviously vulnerability is the issue, or open source tools may not be effective all the time, but for research analysis, for vulnerability testing, they are effective. But as I told you, when we are talking about a company or a G Suite or a C Suite companies, from them this vulnerability stacking is done by more specific analysis, by more specific solutions, which are totally in hand of those companies. So as I told you that sometimes as we can talk about a simple product like a product, any product like a tank which is being available to all the general users, and the users which are using that tank product for the specific C Suite and G Suite companies is very, very different. So for those organizational purposes, their features, their policies are very, very strict, and they are developed based on the policies that are being specified by the companies itself. So for learning point of view, because when we are talking that when we want to do some work on cybersecurity, we normally rely on the open source tool, because normally these packages when are coming are a little bit higher on the version when we are talking about any type of licensing version or more security features solutions. So when we go to an organization and when we connect to an organization, normally organization has a more specific version of it. But since when we have the working analysis of any type of open source software tool, so for that company perspective, we can easily adapt to that. Vikram sir, are you there? Hello, Vikram sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience?
So I think many of them have asked, those who wanted to ask.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful lecture, and I think participants will participants got very lots of things from your lecture. Thank you, ma'am, and we will invite you again in future other lectures. And I also request, ma'am, please share PPT with us. So Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
can share with the participants. You can.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will share the your PPT and recording also with the participant.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a
In
lot. Thank you, all participants.
oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. So just wait. All requested to all participants. Just wait 2 minutes. I am sending the attendance link. Attendance link is shared. Participants are requested to kindly fill the attendance link. One more thing is that some participants requested for another extra session for stress management. So uh, if all the participants are ready, then we will arrange a session tomorrow, an extra session for stress management. So kindly share your views. Dear participants, we have time, so we can utilize it with sharing your views and also for a informal feedback. So if you have any queries or any suggestion, it is welcome. Kindly ask me.